What did your parents make you do that almost completely ruined your life? My parents told me not to date until after college, so I listened. But the second I turned 28, they completely panicked thinking I'd be single forever. Suddenly, I was forced to go on 3 blind dates a week. The first guy FaceTimed his mother the entire dinner, arguing about whether I was pretty enough. The second one who showed up was older than my own dad. Each disaster made my parents more desperate. "You're being too picky, Ella," my mom said while swiping through dating apps. She threatened to cut off my phone bill and kick me out if I didn't start taking this seriously. But I had no idea what I was doing. They expected me to find a husband in 2 years when I'd never even held someone's hand romantically. I called my best friend Jesse after another awful date. "I don't know anything about dating." Jesse thought for a minute. "My brother Jeff's super chill. Maybe he could help you practice so you feel more confident." I met Jeff at a coffee shop and showed up with a printed list of conversation topics and treated the whole thing like a job interview. "So where do you see yourself in 5 years?" I asked. Jeff laughed. "Okay, first rule," he said, grinning. "Dating is just hanging out with someone you might like. Stop interviewing me." I nodded and took a deep breath. "Okay, like a friend." "So, I got this weird bug bite yesterday," and Jeff held his hand up. "Nope, stop. Too friendly. Don't reveal that until you're at least 3 months in." He laughed softly and held my hand across the table. "Sometimes if you can't talk, you let your body do the talking. Look at me," his voice commanded. I stared at his green eyes, then slowly traveled down to his nose and chin, then to his neck as he tilted his head to the side and grinned. "Whoa, slow down. Let's keep things PG. There are kids here," he joked. I was so caught in the moment I didn't even realize how quickly my heart was beating. But that's body language enough. Staring, subtle movements, sometimes all of that is better. "But," he pointed at my printed list, "if you do have to talk, keep it simple. Do you have any pets? Any siblings? Things like that. No interview questions, definitely no insect topics." "Got it," I said, drinking my coffee down. Our other practices were just as fun. At some point they didn't even feel like practices. Jeff brought me to usual date spots, bowling alleys, billiards, karaoke. 3 weeks later, while we were competitively playing mini golf, suddenly paused. "This is our last practice. You don't really need me anymore, and I don't think I can really stay." I stared at him, my heart hurting from his words. I couldn't imagine a week without him. That's when it hit me. I was in love. I held up the golf club to his face. "If I make this shot, you'll stay." Before he could reply, I placed one of the golf balls down and focused, then swung with all my heart. The ball bounced twice and went in. "Holy crap, hole in one." I did it. I smiled, slipped my arms over his shoulder and kissed his cheek. He laughed and shook his head. "That was smooth, but you fumbled a little at the end. This is how it should be done." He grabbed my arms and leaned me back against the windmill, giving me my first, very passionate and totally not PG kiss. After that, we kept seeing each other, but it wasn't practice anymore. It was real. Jesse covered my blind dates for me. Everything was perfect until my parents found out. That night, my mother suddenly asked, "How was your date with the lawyer last night?" I froze. "Fine." Dad set down his fork. "Cut the crap, Ella. We saw you at the grocery store yesterday." "Jeff, right?" Mom's voice was ice. "Jesse's bartender brother? Couldn't you have found someone with a stable corporate job instead? Have we taught you nothing?" I felt tears sting my eyes. All they ever did was lecture me. Before I could defend him, Mom was already calling Dallas from my blind dates. "You're getting engaged next week," she announced, hanging up. Now block Jeff's number. Planning a wedding with Dallas was like watching myself from outside my body. "What about roses?" Mom asked, showing me arrangements. "Whatever you want," I said flatly. She lowered the photos, finally noticing my dead eyes. That evening, Dallas pulled my parents aside. "She looks at me like I'm a chore," he said quietly. "I know that look. She loves someone else. Let's end this." My parents stared at him, still unsure. "Don't worry about my parents. I can handle them. So let her go, while you still have time to fix things." Later that night, they overheard me crying to Jesse on the phone. I didn't know love could hurt so much. I want to end it. I can't live without him. The next morning, my parents called a family meeting. "We wanted you married, to have someone to care for you when we're not around, but you look miserable," my mom said quietly. Dad nodded. "So we're calling off the engagement with Dallas." I just sat there, too exhausted to even react. "It doesn't matter," I said. "Jeff won't even talk to me now, so pick a new guy or whatever. I don't care anymore." "That's not true," Jeff said, walking in. I covered my mouth with my hands, tears staining my face. "Jake." I ran over and hugged him, burying my face in his shirt. He wiped away his own tears and bent down on one knee. "Ella, will you go on a real date with me? Can't we skip straight to marriage?" I laughed through my tears, but yes.